In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers set off into the Ural Mountains of Russia. They never came back. When rescuers finally found them weeks later, what they discovered made no sense. Tents ripped open from the inside. Footprints in the snow leading away from camp barefoot, in -30-degree temperatures. Bodies scattered across the mountain, some with catastrophic internal injuries, broken ribs, crushed skulls, but no external wounds. No signs of a fight. One woman was missing her tongue. The Soviet government classified everything. And for 65 years, no one has been able to fully explain what happened on that mountain. Welcome back to the hidden archive where history hides its secrets. Today we're going to one of the most disturbing and genuinely unsolved mysteries in modern history, the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Subscribe if you're new here, a new mystery every week. Let's get into it. In January 1959, a group of 10 hikers set off from the city of Sverdlovsk in the Soviet Union, what is now Ekaterinburg, Russia. The group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an experienced hiker and engineering student at the Ural Polytechnic Institute. The others were his fellow students and graduates, all experienced mountaineers. This was not a casual trip. These were trained, disciplined, serious hikers. Their goal, to reach the summit of Otorten Mountain in the northern Ural range, a challenging but manageable route for experienced climbers. One member of the group, Yuri Yudin, fell ill early in the journey and turned back. It was the decision that saved his life. The remaining 9 continued into the mountains. They were never seen alive again. When the group failed to return by their expected date in February, a search party was sent out. On February 26, rescuers found the abandoned camp on the slope of a mountain that would later be named Dyatlov Pass in honor of the group's leader. What they found was deeply wrong. The tent had been cut open from the inside as if the hikers had slashed their way out in a desperate panic. Their belongings were still inside. Boots, warm clothing, food, everything they would have needed to survive a night in the mountains in -30-degree temperatures. They had left everything behind and run into the dark, into the freezing cold, in their socks or bare feet. Following the footprints in the snow, rescuers found the first 2 bodies near the remains of a small fire about a kilometer from the tent. They were barefoot, dressed only in underwear. Burned hands, as if they had desperately tried to keep a fire alive with their bare hands. More bodies were found scattered across the slope. Some appeared to have tried to crawl back toward the tent and died on the way. 3 of the 9 were not found until May, buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine. And what the autopsies revealed about those 3 was what truly turned this from a tragedy into a mystery. The first 6 hikers who were found showed no significant physical injuries. The official cause of death was hypothermia. They had frozen to death in the open. Tragic, but explainable if they had panicked and fled the tent. But the 3 found in the ravine in May told a completely different story. One had a fractured skull. 2 others had catastrophic chest injuries, multiple broken ribs, crushed sternums. The kind of damage, the medical examiner noted, that was comparable to a car crash or an explosion. But here is the part that makes no sense: there were no external wounds. No bruising on the skin consistent with a physical attack. No cuts. Nothing to indicate what caused the internal damage. It was as if the force had come from inside or from a pressure wave of some kind. And then there was Ludmila Dubinina. When her body was found, her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips were missing. The official explanation was that they had been removed by animals or decomposition in the meltwater of the ravine. Many researchers have never accepted that explanation. Theory 1, an avalanche. The most widely accepted modern theory is that a rare and unusual type of avalanche called a slab avalanche hit the tent while the hikers were sleeping. A slab avalanche can move in near silence, strike with enormous force, and then stop, which would explain the internal injuries without external wounds, and why the hikers fled without taking their equipment. In 2021, a team of Swiss avalanche experts used computer modeling to support this theory, showing that the specific conditions on that slope on that night made a slab avalanche possible. But critics point out that the slope where the tent was pitched was considered too gentle for an avalanche. And the tent was found partially standing, not buried. Theory 2. Military testing. The Ural Mountains in 1959 were a region of heavy Soviet military activity. Some researchers believe the hikers accidentally wandered into a military testing zone and were killed or driven out by a weapons test. Parachute mines, which detonate in mid-air and create massive pressure waves, have been suggested as a possible cause of the internal injuries. This theory is supported by reports of glowing orange spheres seen in the sky over the Urals in February 1959, reported by multiple independent witnesses, including another hiking group in the area. Theory 3. Infrasound. A more unusual theory suggests that infrasound, low-frequency sound waves below the range of human hearing created by wind moving over the mountain in a specific way, could have caused the hikers to experience intense panic, paranoia, and disorientation. Infrasound is known to cause feelings of unease and even hallucinations in some people. This could explain why experienced hikers fled their tent in a panic without taking anything with them. Theory 4. The Mansi people. Some early investigators suspected the indigenous Mansi people of the region, who considered the area sacred and had warned outsiders to stay away. But no evidence of any human attack was ever found, and the Mansi were quickly cleared. What has always made this case harder to understand is the Soviet government's response. The investigation was closed within months, the files were classified, and the families of the hikers were told almost nothing. The official verdict: the hikers died as a result of an unknown compelling force. That phrase, unknown compelling force, has haunted this case for 65 years. In 2019, Russian authorities officially reopened the investigation and announced they had concluded the cause was an avalanche. But they refused to release all the files, and many researchers felt the investigation was not thorough enough. The classified documents from 1959 have never been fully released. Whatever Soviet investigators found on that mountain, they chose to hide it. 9 experienced hikers. A mountain they had climbed before. A night that should have been routine. And a mystery that has never been fully solved. The avalanche theory is the most scientifically supported, but it doesn't explain everything. The internal injuries. The missing tongue. The orange spheres in the sky. The classified files. What do you think happened on Dyatlov Pass? Leave your theory in the comments. Subscribe to the Hidden Archive, a new mystery, every week. Where history hides its secrets. End.